Hey, welcome to another review today, and today I have In This Moment with the album Mother, which is a random band that I discovered like a couple of years ago because just YouTube recommended it again. Ironically, this was actually the first, I guess, song. Actually, it was the in-between song that actually got recommended to me, so that's how I got to know about this album. I never heard the album fully, I'm gonna be honest, just heard the song, I liked the song, and that was pretty much it. So today I decided to take that little opportunity and just kind of review the album. So yeah, let's get into the album. And first of all, I just want to say it's a bit bold to start the album with an interlude, a song, and then another interlude right away. Those are like the only two interludes the entire album has, and they're both at the beginning pretty much. However, and I will say this, the first interlude is the intro for the first song, Fly Like an Eagle, which is a cover song. And I found it really weird because when I was listening to it, I was like, wait, this is not the style that I know from this album. Like, what the hell? Like, okay, sure, maybe not every song is gonna be as heavy as In Between or The In Between, but that's a bit weird. But yeah, it's a cover, so And then we have the Red Crusade, which is another interlude that starts the In Between song. Essentially, it's the intro for that song, which actually really nice. It actually flows really well. It's almost seamless that they're two different songs. But yeah, overall I'm just not a huge fan of interludes, but I guess they can work. Now, I will say this, which is I didn't get the original or the first cover of the album, Fly Like an Eagle. I think it just does not fit the album whatsoever. The interlude for it, cool, but it does not fit the album in my opinion. Like, I get it, it's a cover, whatever, but it just does not fit the album whatsoever. The album is 14 songs, and by the way, spoilers, 3 of them are covers, and the first 2 definitely do not fit the album, because so the album goes interlude, cover song, interlude, the in-between, and then it goes into Legacy. Legacy is kind of a power ballad. And I'm gonna be honest, it completely disrupted my mood when I was listening to the album, because you go from the in-between to Legacy, which just completely breaks the momentum of the album, in my opinion. Legacy should probably be the first song in the album, or I guess, if you want to have the interlude or whatever, but still, Legacy should be the first song in the album, because then he would go to the in-between, and then it would flow into, oh wait, no, never mind, because the song after Legacy is We Will Rock You from Queen. It's another cover. And look, while the cover is definitely fun, again, it breaks all the momentum of the album. You spend one song that is the best song in the album, the in-between, best song in the album, and then you go into Legacy, which is a power ballad. Okay, whatever, a bit of a discrepancy there, definitely, you kind of get a bit taken aback, but, okay, fine, whatever, part of the... And then just We Will Rock You, really... It does not flow well whatsoever. Personally, I would just remove the 2 covers and... I don't know, let's just release an album with covers or something. I think that it would be better, because these 2 songs, the Fly Like an Eagle and We Will Rock You, they're covers, and they completely disrupt the fucking album. They just disrupt the flow of the album and the atmosphere of the album, right? Which is actually pretty strong, because if you remove those 2 songs and, you put Legacy above the in-between, the album flows much better, because the rest of the album is incredibly solid. From that moment onward, from Mother, which is the self-titled song of the album, great fucking song, by the way, and apparently the backing vocals, according to the comments, I'm gonna trust the comments here, but according to the comments, the backing vocals of Mother, when she's singing Mother, actually were sung by her mother, or her mothers, because apparently there's 2. It's really great song, really, really good song. And yes, the in-between is by far the heaviest song in the album. Unfortunately or fortunately, I was a little bit disappointed, because I really enjoy the heaviness and the contrast especially, and I'll talk a little bit more about that song later on, but, a bit disappointed, but still. The album honestly kind of surprised me a lot. The rest of the album kind of surprised me a lot, because it wasn't necessarily, it was more on the gothic side of things. There was definitely a lot of melodies, especially with synths and everything, but it's very good, especially the last song on the album, Into Dust, which is pretty much fully acoustic. It's not even acoustic, it's mostly just singing. That's it. It's just singing, and it's really good. It's actually a very nice way to end the album, to completely close it out, and honestly, I thought I was gonna hate it more than I did. Definitely one of the highlights of the album that I did not expect whatsoever. But yeah, so pretty much everything's like Mother forward until the rest of the album. There's another, I think it's Hunting Grounds, that is also a cover, but this one actually does fit sort of the theme of the album, at least atmospherically speaking, like, you know, from a sound perspective. So I can't complain too much there. But yes, essentially, like the beginning of the album was a little bit of a disappointment in that regard. But if you ignore, like, I guess, quote unquote, the bad songs, I mean, they're not bad songs, but again, they really just don't. Because Fly Like an Eagle, right? I did not hear the original. I know it's a cover, but I did not hear the original. It sounded like a fucking country song, which for an album like this, which is mostly like gothic, like metal type thing, it just does not go well. It does not go well whatsoever, especially when you have an interlude into it and then you have an interlude to the next song, right? It just doesn't really flow all that well, and I didn't really enjoy it, right? So if you take those two songs out, which, okay, on their own the covers aren't bad, I'm not saying the covers are bad, I'm just saying that the covers disrupt the rest of the album, and I think that's kind of an issue overall. So if you take those two songs out, I think the album is incredibly solid, right? Again, it's a bit disruptive, the in-between into Legacy, especially, Legacy was probably, like, the weirdest song of the album. Like, I understand it fits the album's atmosphere in the sense of, like, the narrative that it establishes, right? But at the same time, right after the in-between, really, I don't know, like, sonically speaking, from a sound perspective, it's so, like, you get shocked, you know what I mean? Like, you're just sitting there, you're like, oh, that was a really good song, and then you just sort of go into this power ballady, like 80s power ballad, and you're sitting there like, what the fuck is going on, right? So it was definitely a little bit weird, but yeah, after that, it's just pretty solid. It's not as heavy, sure, as the in-between, but every song is just pretty solid. It's very touching even. I actually really enjoy, again, like, I wasn't really expecting it to be as, I guess, non-heavy as it was. I mean, there's still some heaviness to it, but it was definitely way more focused on, like, you know, the narrative aspect, and you know, it really, it was nice. As for the vocalist, there's a little bit of a, like, fried vocals, I guess, which actually make everything very unique. Like, it weirdly works for this type of like gothic type, you know. I actually find that surprising, because at least from what I've heard when it comes to gothic stuff, it's mostly just like very clean vocal, and I mean like very clean vocals, right? So having someone that is sort of like this raspy voice to it actually makes everything sound very interesting, you know. It makes the entire sound flow much better, and it feels much more like atmospheric, I guess, than the clean singing or whatever. Like, it makes the album go from, you know, at least when it comes to gothic stuff, go from an aesthetic to go from something that is actually like mysterious and like unique, you know what I mean? Basically something more. I don't know, I actually liked the raspy voice of the singer. As for the rest of the band, the songs seem to be pretty good. But, and I will say this, first of all, the drums sound like they were programmed, like they didn't sound like live drums or anything like that, and that's fine. I'm just saying that, you know, they didn't exactly sound very live, they sounded very like electronic, and that's fine. I could not for the life of me hear the bass. I'm sorry, like, you know, I love the bass, I'm a bass lover, and I couldn't, you know. However, I think that I can kinda end wave these things and just say, well, yeah, but the composition is really good, so it doesn't really matter too much that these things are happening. But yeah, and then we go to the in-between, which is the song that I've been kind of talking about. This song actually really impressed me a lot, especially from the contrast that the song has, right? The song is a very cool thing where it's sort of like, well, the narrative, the theme is the in-between heaven and hell, basically, which is really cool. First of all, the video clip is pretty nice. It's probably one of the best like video clips that I've seen in metal. Metal doesn't tend to have very good video clips, let me tell you, but this one was really nice. And in the song, first of all, again, the raspy voice works wonders for this type of song, right? It makes it feel like everything is like way more outside of your control and much more like anxiety inducing than, you know, if it weren't like that sort of raspy voice. Like, that raspy voice really contributes to that sort of, you know, stress and anxiety, that lack of control that you feel, right? Which, you know, contributes to that being in between heaven and hell, which is kind of the point of the song. the song just sort of like progressively sort of goes through mostly singing, guitar sometimes sounding like on the background, right? Like just it's not a continuous sound, it's just a sort of playing a bit and then silence and then playing another bit type thing, as if you're just checking along. And eventually, like, it culminates into the chorus where, you know, like the instrument comes in full swinging, and it's a very like cool contrast between the more like subdued parts and the more full-blown parts, I guess, right? In a way, you kind of do feel the calm before the storm and the storm, but the chorus also sort of, even though it's like a full-blown like instruments, everything comes in, it does feel very freeing in a way, right? It feels like you sort of like release the tension, you know, because that's the thing. There's this sort of contrast between the more quiet parts that are supposed to be more calm, but in reality they're more anxiety inducing than the full-blown parts, right? So the chorus is usually the part where it's actually less anxiety inducing, where that stress is actually released, right? So there's sort of that dynamic going on there that's actually like really cool. One thing else that I'll also say before I finish, pretty much the visualizers are some of the best I could ask for. Like in terms of theme and in terms of like looking just cool as hell, yeah, the visualizers for this album, because they have like, you have like sort of a circle that is sort of like I guess a ritual circle or whatever. You have the symbols, right? And then you have the number of the song in Roman numbers, and then you have the name of the song, right? And it's just like, it looks really fucking cool, by the way. It looks really fucking cool. Overall, honestly, this album was definitely not what I was expecting. Again, the only song I heard from this album was In Between a couple of years ago, and I expected way more of that, and it wasn't that. But I was still very pleasantly surprised at what the album actually was, and how good actually, and how much engagement the album ended up getting from me, honestly, because I really enjoyed it. So in terms of my vibe meter, my vibe meter is like an 8 out of 10, and I say 8 out of 10. So yeah, I'll see you tomorrow for another album.